Hey everybody, it's Chad from Six Blog and Lucy. It's my wonderful dog. I love her to death. She's family. Anyway, Chad from Six Blog. I want to do a video today and talk about two things. First off, this is a test video for my new Rode Video Micro microphone. I've decided lately that I want to try and step up my videos. You know, I owe it to my subscribers. I owe it to myself, maybe Lucy. I owe it to everybody to try and produce better quality videos than what I've put out in the past. I'll admit a lot of those have been very shaky and sometimes hard to hear. So I'm trying to do that a little bit. Now don't laugh, I'm using the iPhone 8 Plus, but I feel like I'm able to get better quality videos with it than I have with my cameras in the past. I am shooting at 4K at 24 frames per second. I'm hoping that the 4K will absorb more detail and that the 24 frames per second is going to help kind of stabilize some of my image. It should make for a more steady picture. Besides that, I'm also trying to improve the audio quality, and by doing that I picked up one of the Rode Video Micro microphones, and that is actually what I'm using right now to record this. Right now I'm about 5.5 feet away from the microphone, which is a little farther than I'm probably normally going to be, but anyway, this video is to kind of test out the quality of audio that I'm going to get from using this mic. Now I'm not going to go into a lot of the specifics about the mic. I'm not an audiophile. I'm not educated in the ways. I'm learning this stuff as I go. But basically this is a shotgun mic. What's nice about that is it should be focusing on what it's pointing at, which currently is me, and it should be kind of getting rid of some of the surrounding noise, especially behind it and even to its sides. Besides that, the other cool thing is I'm using a dead cat, dead rat, windsock, windscreen, whatever you want to call it. I'm using that to cover the mic, so it should block out any, or at least some of the kind of light wind noise. And actually right now there's a little bit of wind blowing, so we'll see how it sounds. But anyway, this video is to test out those pieces of equipment. These are pieces of equipment that I'm going to be carrying with me on the John Muir Trail this summer, which is the second thing I want to talk about in this video. Now recently I've put out several videos talking about some of the gear that I plan on carrying with me on my John Muir Trail hike, and in one of the videos, the recent video on my shelters, one person commented and said, I appreciate the information, but could you tell us how did you get the permits? What are your plans, etc., etc. And I have actually covered, I think, a lot of information as far as what tickets I got, how I got them, and such throughout different videos or blog posts. I will say I have not put them in one specific spot, and that's what I wanted to do on this video. I wanted to talk about what tickets I have and what are my plans for hiking the JMT. So first off, I want to say that I decided not to do the traditional southbound start down here at 4,000 feet in Yosemite and slowly acclimate as I elevate to 14,505 feet at Mount Whitney. What we have done is we have decided that we're going to hike it the opposite direction. This is not as popular of a choice simply because, first off, like I said, it's a traditional hike to start in Yosemite and finish at the tallest peak, but also because elevation. Whenever you hike it the opposite direction, you're starting at a much higher elevation than you would if you were to start down in Yosemite. Because of that, I do have some plans to acclimate, and that will require me to spend more time at the beginning of my hike acclimating than it would if I was to just start in Yosemite. So first off, before I get into the actual plans, what I want to say that my plan is going to consist of to make sure that I acclimate properly, because I live here at 495 feet elevation. I don't have any elevation here at all. In my adult life, I don't think I've ever been anything past about 6,800 feet. I don't know how elevation is going to affect me. I don't know how it's going to affect my son. So, because of that, I'm going to take as many precautions as I can to try and hit that the best way that I can and be prepared for it. So the first thing I plan on doing is I'm going to get a prescription for Diamox, which will help me with help my body with acclimating. Another thing that I'm going to be doing is drinking a powder drink called Acclimate. I'm going to be drinking that a couple of times a day for the first, I think, week or so of our hike. Besides that though, and probably more important than those things, what we're planning on doing is we're actually driving all the way across the country. We're driving, and we are going to drive to Mammoth Lakes. It's a 2-day drive for us. So we're going to spend the first night in Mammoth Lakes in a hotel. But the cool thing is Mammoth Lakes is about 8,000 feet. So right there off the bat, all of our bodies should start acclimating. But it should be at a low elevation, low enough so that we don't hopefully get sick or have any problems. The second night, after we wake up in Mammoth Lakes the next morning, we are going to drive to Onion Valley. We already have a campground reserved in Onion Valley, which sits at about 9,200 feet. So that's basically, we're stepping up about 1,000 feet, and we're going to spend another night there in that campground. Now the cool thing about that is when we get up that morning in Mammoth Lakes, we're going to pick up our permits at the Mammoth Lakes Visitor Center. Then we're going to drive to Onion Valley. While we're at Onion Valley, not only are we going to get a camp set up, but we're also going to drop off, for those of us that are hiking, we're going to drop off our first resupply. Because when we come through, we're going to head over Kearsarge Pass and hike into Onion Valley and pick up our first resupply on night 6 of our actual hike. And just for anybody that's wondering, I've called the rangers at Onion Valley or Inyo and made sure that it was okay for us to store food or items for our hike in those bear boxes. I've read other people's done it. Some people say that the rangers aren't allowing that anymore, so I called and verified, and they said absolutely. The only thing they ask is just make sure you label your box, and preferably if you don't make it to pick it up, at least somehow come by and pick it up, and don't leave it sitting in the bear boxes. So that's what our second night's going to be. And then our third night, we'll actually drive up to Horseshoe Meadows, and we will camp out at Horseshoe Meadows, which is 10,000 feet. So there we went from 8,000 the first night, 9,000 the second night, to 10,000 the third night. Hopefully, between those 3 nights, as well as the Diamox and the Acclimate, hopefully our bodies will be getting used to the elevation the way it should, and we won't experience any kind of bad problems when we start hiking on July 4th, which is our first day of hiking. On July 4th, we're going to hike from Horseshoe Meadows only about 5 miles up to the Cottonwood Lakes area, and we're going to spend the night there at 11,000 feet. So there again, basically that's our 4th night acclimating. After that, the next night, we're going to hike a little farther, I think about 12 miles or so, to Rock Creek. We're going to spend our next night at Rock Creek, but that night we'll actually be down around mid-9,000 or so. I can't remember exactly the elevation at Rock Creek. But we will be lower than we were the previous nights before. So basically that's going to be our 5th night. Now from that point on, the next day, we're planning to hike up to around Guitar Lake and camp there. So of course we'll be higher elevation there. I'm not sure exactly where in that area we're going to stay, so I can't tell you the exact elevation. But it will be higher than the night before. And what we are planning on doing is getting up early enough to hike up to Mount Whitney and catch a sunrise. That should be, I think, July 7th. Let me look here. Yes, July 7th we should be summiting Mount Whitney, and technically, even though we'll have been hiking that will technically be our 4th day out, that will be the start of the true JMT trail. So, before I go any farther, I want to say, like I said, we're heading northbound. There's a couple of reasons that we decided to head northbound. First off, and most importantly, wow. Most importantly is we decided that we did not want to get into the permit system. We wanted to bypass all that permit stuff and just get our tickets. Going northbound allows you to do that. All you do is wait 6 months to the day. Like I said, we're starting on July 4th, so that meant on January 4th, I typed in recreation.gov. In my search bar in recreation.gov site, I searched for Inyo National Forest Wilderness Permits, and from there, I just picked what I was doing. I picked that I wanted to start at Cottonwood Lakes Trailhead, and I wanted to exit at Yosemite Valley, or Happy Isles in Yosemite Valley. And I picked how many nights we were going to be there, how many people was going to be in my party, and I hit enter, and I paid the money, and I was done, and that was it. Very simple to do. A couple of cool things about that though is, other than completely avoiding the lottery and pretty much getting the day that you want to start, I also got automatic permits to hike up Half Dome. I did not have to get in a lottery for that. So everybody that's on my ticket now, which is myself, my son, my buddy Benny Braden, plug it in, and his son, all four of us are going to be hiking this trail together. All four of us have permits to hike up Half Dome once we get to that point. So that's how we got our tickets. If you're desperate on hiking the trail, and as that one guy said, he's been trying for 3 years, you know what my suggestion is forget the traditional southbound hike and do a northbound hike. Take the time at the beginning to acclimate properly and pay attention to your body. That's my plans. I can't say it's worked for me, but I feel like the plan that I have laid out is about the best that I'm going to get. So that's my suggestion, that's my advice, is forget the southbound traditional hike and just hike the trail. So many people I've read or watched videos, specifically one video called John Muir Trail 2013. It was a journey through a range of light by John, and I'm not even going to try to say his last name. I'm just going to link it. I'll put a little share link up here. You can click on it. But his northbound video from 2013 is basically what I've planned our entire hike on. So, saying that, I'm really happy with our hike. We are taking 20 days to do it. From the time that we step out on July 4th to the time that we finish in Happy Isles will be July 23rd. So we're planning on 20 days. There will be technically 3 resupplies, but you consider you start with your first supply. So technically, there's going to be 4 supplies there. So that means what's really cool is we're going to start off with our heaviest supply at 6 days worth of food. At Onion Valley, like I said, we're gonna put our own resupply in the bear boxes there. We're gonna pick up 5 days of supply there. That's gonna get us to Muir Trail Ranch. Now I want to say something here. I would love to have went to VVR instead of Muir Trail Ranch, but that is just, it really does make more sense to go to Muir Trail Ranch than it does to go to VVR, just because it splits the supplies up better. Not to mention Muir Trail Ranch is right on the trail. Now I've heard a lot of people say that they did not have a pleasant experience at Muir Trail Ranch. That's fine. I don't plan on staying there. I plan on picking up my resupply, camping out at the hot springs near Muir Trail Ranch, the next morning get on the trail and keep going. I may possibly use their power strip for my son's stuff, but that's another video. Once we get to Muir Trail Ranch, we're going to pick up a 4-day resupply. That's going to get us to Red Meadows, and at Red Meadows we're going to pick up a 5-day supply, and that will get us to Happy Isles. So that means that at most I'm going to be carrying 6 days worth of food, and I mean that's not bad at all. I don't have to worry about carrying the 10 or 12 days of food that some people carry to make that last stretch from Muir Trail Ranch to out Whitney Portal or anything. What's cool is we'll still get to stop on day 15. We'll be at Red Meadows, and that burger and that beer is going to be so awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. Like I said, we are planning on summiting Half Dome. Our plans for that is we are planning on hiking up and staying at Clouds Rest on probably night 18. On the 19th morning, we'll wake up, we'll hike down from Clouds Rest, we'll summit Mount Whitney, and then we'll stay in the Little Yosemite Valley area. Actually, Chris Meade recommended Moraine's Dome, which is right near Little Yosemite Valley. But anyway, we're going to be in that area. And then the next day, we're going to wake up, we're going to hike on out to Little Yosemite, to Happy Isles. And my wife, my daughter's going to be there. They're going to pick us up in the car, and then we're going to drive home. So that's it. If you have any comments or questions, just post them below and I'll try to reply or answer any questions. And that's it. You know, that's our plan. I think we have a good plan going, and I'm really looking forward to the hike. Everybody, I appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time.